Hi, my name is Jennifer Alcala, and I'm the owner of Detroit Sugar Cookie. In addition to all of the cookies and cakes that we make, we also design and print our own cookie cutters in-house using our 3D printer. And this past week, in helping out some fellow cookiers in a Facebook group, I got a lot of questions on how we could make our own STLs at home. What software do you use? How do you create the STL file? How can I take an image that I have and create a cookie cutter based on that image? So today in this video I'm going to show you how to do that. I pulled an image of a pineapple off of Google, and that's what I'm going to use to show you today. We're going to end up with a cookie cutter similar to this one, which is our strawberry cookie cutter for the strawberry lemonade cookies that we make. You can actually find the STL for this cutter on Thingiverse. Just look me up, Jennifer Alcala, ton of cookie cutters on there. And I'm also, at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how to create the rounded grasp on the cookie cutter, which is super professional if you're wanting to branch into designing, printing, and then selling your cookie cutters. If I do them just for us, I don't always do the rounded edges. The square edges are just fine. But I will show you how to do that rounded edges at the end of the video. Okay, so you've downloaded Fusion 360 and you're ready to make your first cookie cutter. First thing we're going to do is create a new component. So select Assemble and then click on Create New Component. Click OK. And now we're going to put our image into the software. So insert canvas. Insert from your computer. Select your photo, cute little pineapple. Select the plane you want to put him on, and then hit enter. Now we haven't sized him, so let's do that now. I want our pineapple to be 4 inches tall, so I'm going to open the component, open the canvas, and right click on the name of my canvas, and then click on Calibrate. Select the 2 points, top and bottom, and since I want him to be 4 inches tall, he's going to be 101 millimeters. Perfect. So you can use this little hand down here to move your canvas around. Now we're going to create our sketch. So up at the top, click on Create, and then Create Sketch. It'll ask you to select your plane, make sure it's the same one that you put your image on, and now we're ready. Under the sketch header, your tab, you're going to create a point. I find this to be much easier than trying to freehand it, and you'll see why in a minute. But you basically just want to outline your image. Does not have to be perfect. We can move them around. You'll get a feel for how many points you need once you get used to manipulating the lines. So I think that's good enough for me. We can always delete them, but it's really hard to add more after you've already started to create your sketch. So if you think you're going to need more, go ahead and add a couple more in there. Now once we have our image outlined with points, we're going to select the Fit Point Spline. He's kind of curly. And you're just going to start connecting the dots. Super easy. Not much to it. And you see how I just missed that dot? Not a big deal. but it's much easier to follow this pattern and then have the dots, and then you can manipulate them in a minute. I'm going to show you. So now we've connected all of our dots. You'll see all of our points have these green lines, and that's going to help us curve the line to follow the shape that we want. So for instance, if you hit your select tool up here, it'll let you select the items. You'll see how this line is really rounded right here. We want it to be a point. So we're going to click on the blue line, click on the line, and grab this line right here. And you see how it's bringing those lines in? So it's going to bring the line where it hits this point to a much finer point, and the wider it is, the rounder that line is going to be. So you just draw it in. Nice little lines. Same thing here. We want a nice point. You'll notice this is off a little bit, so you're just going to move that dot right there. And now we have to go up and do that for all of the rest of the splines on the pineapple. So you move that dot, point them out. Same thing here. And you'll see this line is really tight, and we want it to be a little more curved. And you can get that by moving this. So you want it to curve out a little bit. You want it to curve out. See? Same thing here. You just got to play with it. If we would have added another point in here, we could have dragged it out that way. Which is why I also said if you think you want more points, add them. It's much easier to delete them than it is to add them afterwards. But I'm also not much of a perfectionist, so. Make my little points. So you're just going to go all the way around this pineapple. Another reason why I like to add my dots and then do the line after the dots are already there is that it's easier to get one solid line, which when you're trying to extrude this, I'll show you that in a minute, it's going to make it a lot easier. It's much harder to manipulate when each segment is separated. Which is another reason why I like to create my own STLs, because sometimes when I get them off of Thingiverse or I get them off of CookieCAD, you can't always tell if it's one solid line. So down here, I'm really not even manipulating much, just moving the lines, moving the dots, which is moving the lines. So each time I'm moving my canvas around a little bit, I'm going back up to select, and that's going to help you just seamlessly grab your dots and your lines. I think this is a good shape for our pineapple. Let's see what he looks like. He's looking pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to finish our sketch, but we're not really finished. So my trick for getting the offset is to hit the O button. It's going to bring your sketch back up. You select your sketch. This is where if you had
separate sections. Say you did a circle for the pineapple, and then you did this top piece separately, you wouldn't be able to get this offset all in one piece, and this just makes it so much easier. So if at all possible, try to put your sketch in one line. My thickness for my cookie cutters is 0.8 millimeters. Hit enter. So now we're going to extrude. See, there's your offset in your sketch. So now we're going to go to solid, up here at the top, extrude. And you don't want to select the inside. We're not creating a huge pineapple. We just want this outline right here. So you select that outline. You could just type in your 20 here, but I like to make sure that it's going up off of the bed. So I grab the arrow and I go up to 20. I find 20 is a good depth. I make my cookies 3/8 of an inch thick, so this is a good depth for me to also have a solid grasp on the tip. So do that, hit enter, and there's your cookie cutter. Pretty easy. So now we're going to add that grasp to it. So don't touch anything else and just hit O again. We're going to do another offset. It's going to ask you what plane you want to use. Don't select any. Rotate your cookie cutter to the bottom and select the bottom edge of your cookie cutter. So right there you see how that bottom line is selected. Click on that. And now you're going to offset your outside line on your cookie cutter. I find a 5 millimeter grasp is good sized. Sometimes the way the cookie cutters are made, it's not going to let you make that grasp that big. I'm assuming it's because of the top pieces of the pineapple here. So just as much as you can, as big as you can. There we go. 4.99 is good. Go ahead and hit enter. So now you've got the outside of your cookie cutter ready for your handle. So now you're going to hit solid again, extrude again, same process as earlier. It's facing downwards this time, so grab it and bring it up. 5 is good, 5 millimeters is good. And there's your cookie cutter. He's cute. Cute little pineapple cookie cutter. If you were finished here and you don't care about rounded edges, you can save. Let me see. Pineapple. Save your project and then export it. So you're going to export your STL file. Select where you want it to go on your computer and then click on export. It takes a minute. So now if you want to have rounded edges on your cutters, which are super fancy if you ask me, there's 2 ways. You can select fillet right here, or just hit the F button. And there's 2 ways to do it. Depending on your cutter, not one specific way is going to work. So sometimes, especially when you have a lot of ins and outs like I do at the top of this pineapple, I can't select the side and do it. It just won't work. That's not working. So you've got that red line in there. It's not going to work. So alternatively, you can have just the line, select it, hit F, do your fillet, and hit enter. Same thing again. See, and there's our error. Sometimes when that happens, I try a lower number to see if that'll work. Doesn't always work. And I've been trying with this pineapple all morning. The top of this pineapple does not want to round. But that's how you do it. Yeah, that's not working. I've noticed when you have very sharp ins and outs, I had this with my strawberry, sometimes you just can't, it just won't work. Even a small one won't work. But that's how you do it. So you can select the side, hit F, and then hit your number. Oh, it's not working. So if you wanted to edit this, you could right click on whatever piece you've done, edit feature. That's going to open up the fillet. We'll just delete it. I'm going to try this again because I really want to show you what happens when you select the side. Try 2. It worked. So sometimes you just gotta play with it, but look how nice that looks. It's nice and round. So pretty. Ready for Etsy. Except this piece up here. But I'm not gonna worry about that because I'm just printing this for my best friend, so she's not getting any fillets. There we go. And there's your pineapple cutter.